is that? Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, it's right on the camera.
Wow, look at that, it's moving. It's so weird. You can see the planes going, but the light is, it's kind of like streaking. It's so weird. And the camera is like,
Mine's bugged now.
yeah, the camera is not.
Dude, what the? It's like two things.
Yeah.
What?
Now you can kind of
You see
see.
that?
Yeah, I see it. It's so weird.
Are you watching it? Like in the camera? Yeah, you're just. What the fuck, dude?
What in the flying fuck?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Wait, is there? No, there's not a mountain over there. What the? It's moving down. It's moving down. It's moving down.
Oh yeah?
Why is it going down?
Oh shit.
Bro,
Yeah, I'm recording
it's
all
going
of
back
this.
up. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, right? That cannot be like anything. Like, it cannot be like drones or something. Yeah, now it's like separating.
What the fuck is that, dude? My brain doesn't understand.
That's exactly what UFOs are, UAPs. Fucking hell. Dude. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What the hell?
Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration say there were no aircraft incidents or accidents in this area Tuesday night, but multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
Something is in the sky. What is that?
This video was taken by Misitina Sape at 8:26 Tuesday night near Haleakala Avenue in Nanakuli. Not long after, a woman named Mariah spotted the same thing passing over Princess Kahanu Estates.
I don't know, I looked up. And then I was like, oh, started calling my husband in because we was all in the garage. I was like, hey, so look up there. See what I see. They all said, yeah.
The 38-year-old says she's never really been a believer in UFOs, but the bright blue object had them so intrigued they jumped in the car and started following it.
I don't know what it was. This one was going so fast.
The journey ended less than 3 miles from where it began on Farrington Highway in front of the Board of Water Supply building after the object appeared to drop into the ocean.
Oh, the going land in the water, whatever it is.
She described it as being larger than a telephone pole and says she never heard it make any sound.
We called 911 if I have, like, one cop or somebody for come out and come check them out.
While officers were on scene, she says they spotted a second light.
My husband went look up and he seen the white one coming. The white one was smaller, was coming in the same direction as the blue one.
They lost sight of the object after it passed over a nearby mountain. This morning, we asked Honolulu police if investigators figured out what fell in the water. A spokesperson told us they didn't have any information. Meanwhile, officials from the FAA said they received a report from police Tuesday night about a possible plane down in the area, but had no aircraft disappear off radars and no reports of overdue or missing aircraft.
Right, that's like a UFO, bar.
Although Mariah's had a couple days to think about it, she says she's still baffled by what she saw.
To this day, I don't know. If you guys can find out what it was, I'll let you know, you know what I mean?
Allison Blair, Hawaii News Now.
What was your reaction to learning about this drone activity over a U.S. Air Force base?
Yeah, I'm real concerned about it. I don't mind telling you. I mean, you know, you hear all these issues about who's coming across our southern border, and there's many of them could be potentially adversaries to the United States. And then you hear things like this because you have to understand that when there's drones in the air, that means that there's operators on the ground very nearby. So the question is, who's operating these things? Because they have to be, you know, just a handful of kilometers away from these things, because the drones don't have that far of a range for the most part, except for some of the strategic ones. But regardless, the fact that these things are going on there, and whether they show hostile intent is irrelevant. The fact that they're operating there looks like, to me, a standard military reconnaissance operation, to where you test out the enemy's ability to detect you. You see how far you can go. You see what are the difficulties. Are there any electronic warfare kinds of issues that you have to worry about, etc. I'm concerned about it, and we just will have to see if this is going to be a trend and if it's going to happen elsewhere.
You know, and I want to zero in on something you just said there, the fact of, you know, this could be trying to figure out how well they can be detected. So why do you think we're just hearing about this now? Do you think it was also just detected now, or it was detected at the time, but for some reason we're not hearing about it till basically the end of March?
Yeah, and I'm wondering what the circumstances were around why it's coming out now. I haven't seen that yet, but it's a question. I mean, you would think that that's probably something that they would want to keep quiet, the Department of Defense, while they work very hard and very aggressively to ascertain, you know, where this came from, who was behind it, but much more than that. And this needs to be applied across our bases across the country. We need to get some countermeasures in place quickly. This is something that's just really disappointing to me, because I've been advocating for counter drone capacity literally since the 2008, 2009 timeframe, because it was clear that's where it was going. And of course, we see all the things going on in the Russia-Ukraine war to do with drones, and electronic warfare is one of the best defenses that both sides are using against the other. And we seem to be lagging behind on that. We need to put a lot more effort in on that.
Is there a way to prevent this type of thing from happening? How does the U.S. protect itself?
Right now, there's not. There is no way to protect it. I mean, it's self-evident, the fact that it continued to happen there, and that's a big issue there. But we're behind the ball, not just for the base security. This is something for the future warfare that's only going to get more complex as it goes forward, and we need to be really jumping on this ball.
Richard Southern is here for our interesting stories chat, and we begin with your favorite topic, Richard. Some new video has surfaced of an unidentified flying object, and it's quite a bit different from the images that we've seen in the past.
It is, Erica. I'm going to show it to you. It actually comes from journalist Jeremy Corbell, who we've had here on City News before. He has a great track record for releasing these videos that have later been authenticated by the U.S. Pentagon. And here again is something that was shot not by someone in their backyard, but by the U.S. military. Look at that, Erica.
Interesting.
He's calling this the Jellyfish UFO, and you could see why it kind of has that resemblance. This was shot at a U.S. joint operations base in Iraq in 2018. The footage was taken by a thermal camera, so it's not clear whether or not this object would have been visible to the untrained, unaided human eye or not. According to Corbell, the object is officially designated as an unknown aerial phenomenon by the U.S. Pentagon. The object, he says, moved through a sensitive military installation before moving over water, where it began what Corbell says was a controlled descent into the water. It emerged 17 minutes later, took off at a high rate of speed. And like other UFOs we've seen, Erica, there's no obvious source of propulsion here. And unfortunately, again, there's more questions than answers. But that kind of looked kind of different than the ones we've seen before, right?
It does. It's kind of unsettling the way it's moving around there. It's really interesting.
Yeah, but again, it has the same sort of traits whereby it's, U.S. military. There seems to be this connection to military and to water as well. So it's something we'll continue to follow. You know that much.
All right.
And I had a drone on board, so I thought it would be a nice night to catch a sunset. I had the drone in my hand, and someone said, "What's that?" And we look up, and there was, I put it on TikTok, it looked like a black jellyfish, a gigantic black jellyfish, and it sailed right over the retreat, directly through the center line of the ship, right through our X and our stack, and just floated through. Thing was, we had no wind, maybe 5 knots at the time, but this thing was cruising along about 10, 15 miles per hour, just cruised right over, and as it passed the stern of the ship, it went a couple hundred meters, maybe 300 to 400 meters, and then it started to descend into the water. But because it was sunset, we couldn't put a rescue boat down to go see what it was, but it disappeared into the water, and we have no idea. It wasn't a drone, there was no noise associated with it, so if you want to see our UFO, it's on TikTok.
What is? I thought it was the drone.
Yeah.